This is Gerald Johan van Waas and the educational channel that is in support of the theory which I called sound in form. It is a theory that explains how letters can be understood from the point of view that they are also reference points with a certain reference point in time, in space, and you can combine them and understand them. You can see them as very easy formations. You can only understand them fully if you also deal with the large structure, which is a structure that is related with time mostly. So there are all references that are connected with movements in time, changes in time. That is what our language is trying to achieve, to pinpoint you into the right direction of changes, of things that move and change in time and that are also formed in time. So you can see these things easily, but if you want to understand them fully, you have to deal with the element of time. In this case, I will give you some examples which only slightly have that aspect. I don't do that if you don't need it, and you simply have the object and you don't need the description of the process in time, but you understand it immediately by just simply showing what happens there, what is there, and how it happened and how it was formed. Good enough for me, good enough for you. I'll give you some examples which are easy to build up yourself. Pot, pit, pat and path. And then with another letter, pis, pas, pass or path. The P, it's pressed out point. Very simple. We keep it simple. And let's combine it first with the O. The O or an environment, a process, whatever these things can be. I give you the associations that you have to have in your back of the mind if you have the O. And then you combine them. Where do you have to put the O? Around it, of course, around the P. So it is the environment, it's the process around it, the things that are surrounding it. Of course it can, the O, the P and the position of the P can vary a little bit. If you put it a little bit lower, you have a little bit more place for O, so then you have the letter O with a larger O. If it is pressed a little bit higher, so that the things that the O, the environment, is more underneath, is more inside, it is the PO, because then in the O within its own form it can be pressed in, so there will be a pressed in. So here I will have PO, the first word, pot and pot. I have here PO, P-O, the O around it, and the T after the P is this is the point where we have the T. Not much explanation anymore, but it is recognizable already as pot. Not more difficult than that. Okay, where do we have to add the P and then the E to it and then the T as a placement or functional placement? It can also be, it's a functional placement is a good thing to say, so you have there a point of distinction, and it's always somewhere in the two-third that you have it. So where, if we add the E in the P, at the P, where do we have it? With the T or the functional place. Yeah, here we have to have the pit. Is that enough? That's enough. We can recognize where lies the pit. It's somewhere inside where something is pressed out, something is pressed in, it's in there. There's the pit is there. Nothing more difficult than that. Let's go to pat. With pat we also come to the first difficulty, but I'll build it up slowly. I'll think with the letters, with what we know, and how we can solve a problem that we encounter to form and visualize the form with it, with the elements that we know. So, because pat is already expressed differently as we have written it down. And as you can see here, here is pat. I have it. But it's not written with a T, it's written with a D. So what shall I do? So that means that something that is a reference point of a distinction at a certain point where we have the T, is actually related with a D. So it is related with a displacement, a displacement, or a balance that has to do with a displacement. And it's not immediately visible. You don't hear it also, it's written down, but it is there. So we need to find a solution for it as well. So what is there? The most easy solution that I could find here in this form is that I make it more harmonious. I make this more harmonious form, and then I have already the most simple basic displacement. And let's say that this simple displacement already reminds me of the first thing that fit into the structure, a little bit accidentally. It's the first word with pat, which is the toad, which is looking at me there. It's not really 100% there, but it's one of the things that should fit within that structure. Okay, but I will have to find another solution. So what is also possible from the T becoming a D? So this was one of the solutions. I will make it complete. I have a structure where I can base my references upon. So okay, that's my first solution. Another solution would be that T is a placement and D is a displacement, but it also means it's more pronounced. So it can be like we have a point at a certain space, but when this point in space also shows a certain thickness, as you can have there, it has a certain thickness, then the T becomes a D. When I show the form that I have that is pressed out with a more pronounced way, it's becoming more physical, my attention is going towards it, so it's also becoming more it's becoming more a thing. I have this object, it becomes an object, becomes a placement, an object, a thing that is filled in. The that's one of the things how I expressed it in my book. When you fill in the form, it's becoming more an A because your attention is given to the form, in this case that is pressed out, not just on the place, but also with a certain thickness. So yes, I have already the second meaning that fits in the pat. So there's all kinds of pats that you can associate there, of a certain thickness with a certain centralized form that is pressed out and forms has a certain pressure point with a certain thickness. That's all the kind of pats that you can have there. But I will try to find the displacement and try to focus on that particular aspect. So I have, just say I will have my focus, my main focus, centralized even more, that is pressed out there, and I'll try to focus on what is the displacement still fitting with this form. So when I start from after the pressure point, as I have my main focus on pat from the A, with the T as the first distinction away from the center and then displaced. This displacement is already visible, but because I put out the a little bit too much, it's not just path anymore, it's more like a path, a path. It is within the structure of an environmental structure with reference points. It fits actually more with the English word path, but as a solution that I try to find there, it's not so much ideal. I want to start from the P that I have there. There, that's already a derived vision. It fits with a path. I found a path in path, but it's not path anymore. I will start from path, and hopefully this time I will find a better, a more harmonious solution, which starts from my toad path here that I have as a starting point. So I press out my points of T or even D in the harmonious way. So I press it out, but I have to press it out fully from the P. So I'll go this time from one position to another position, and then from there, from my reference point that I have now in path, I will go to a point of distinction and I will follow the path, and that fits with the last meaning of path. And there I have symbolized it a little bit. So a path is a path in between certain things, pressed in actually in between certain things, and we are able to follow it, and that is expressing it a little bit better this way. So you have the T is then the position that we have somewhere in the path or path that we can follow, and is also finding a new position somewhere. So we're following the position that we are pressed inwardly into the path, let's say. That's the kind of association that you can make by following the letters and the letter meanings and so on, and you have to find a solution to make it work. Sometimes it will be a slightly puzzle, you have to puzzle it a little bit, but follow the rules of the letters, please. With path, if I translate the path into a form, I have the same kind of structure that is recognizable. Path, so you have the extra letter of H, and H is the full structure references within the environment, the full structure, and it deals with this environment. Actually, it is saying, like, there's pressed out a direction, a distinction that is within the environment. I deal with the environment. It's more or less the same as I described before in path. There it is dealing with the whole environment and it's finding a path there. All these things connect to what is as hidden into the combinations of letters and are explained by how the words are used and are using these reference points. Let's go to pass, pis, pass. Here again I have the pressing P and the S, or the final effect, the variations, the fluctuations. They have to follow, of course, the pressed starting point, and it's pressed into the vowel, and the vowel has a certain direction, and here they follow the directions of these vowels and are also the result of these positions of vowels. What do the vowels do? The E, we know it is inserted, so what is pis? It's pressed out. What is in? So think that comes from inwardly and goes then outwardly, it's pressed out from what is coming from within. So that's the pis. The u is it is gradually forming. It's unformed at certain points. It comes from within, gradually evolving, and that's how the pas is coming out. Pass, or pass, like in pass. A pass is more a Dutch word. A pass is the English word. Pass is following the straightforwardness, so the straightforwardness of the being pushed out with these variations we can still notice. And because of these variations, at the same time, it's varying a little bit. It's coming in, it's coming out. It is varying in this at the same time. We could analyze it a little bit further and see that and also compare it to what these words all mean. Pas can be in Dutch. It's a word which not just means a step or stepping, taking steps. It also means just now. It's just happening. So also here, it's all at the same moment. The P is the pressed out moment situation, where you have these fluctuations, you see, coming in, coming out at the same time. It is passing, as you can see it. You also have the word pass as passport. Passport can be translated as a pass that you can pass. It's meant to identify yourself, but the real meaning or the real reason why there's an identification with the pass is to give you a pass, a free pass, a free passage. So this also is passing. You're passing here in this situation, out of the situation, which is pressed out of the situation. So it's passing. The S, with the extra S, it is further away from the center. So here it truly is passing and already no longer part of the present, while pass means just now. It's just happened. It is still within our present moment. That's the way how you can analyze these words and understand them from the letters alone. I hope you enjoyed this video. I also noticed that when I redo one of the frames that seems that there are overlaps sometimes, and I hope I didn't screw up any of the previous videos by doing so as well, because sometimes some frames disappear and then I have to redo them, and that's and then this program of PowerPoint does really strange things with timing, and then things are overlapping and so on. But I hope it worked this time, that you had a good passing time, and I hope you enjoyed these examples and that they become more understandable how this system works of letters and letter combinations. You can make it even more complex to really add the element of time and see, like, okay, because the P is not just a moment at that point, a moment in time with a certain pressed out thing. It is a situation where something is pressed out in time. There's a whole process behind it, which, if you go deeper into it, it is slightly more complex than that. But the most important thing is just sense what is there, try to understand what you can, and leave all the rest. Leave all the rest. Most important thing is, with every letter, with every word, is go to the things that you sense at this moment and just leave all the rest as it is. And then you can learn and make interactions and make connections with simply what you know already, what is there already, what you meet and encounter already, and then let it pass through you and enjoy what you already have and know and understand, and just leave all the rest. More demonstration on its way. Thanks for watching.